right on cue every time we start.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We're live.
Yep.
We're live. Are we live, everyone?
I think we'll do
We're
it live.
live.
We're doing it live.
We're going to do it live.
live. Doing it live.
Let's again. Yeah.
What?
You say doing it. You say doing. You say it. I say live.
Cool.
Doing
It
Live.
doing it live. Welcome to the
that
More
was not the
Taco
dumbest thing
Encounter.
I've done with you guys ever.
It was, listen,
We've done dumb.
we have a wide spectrum of stupidity here on this show, which is one of our great talents. We're live here on TikTok streaming,
Ish.
and
Yeah.
for those of you who are watching the pod, we were filming this live. Where were you? But we're glad that you're checking us out when you check us out.
Get on TikTok Live. We're gonna make this a thing.
I don't even have a TikTok account.
Yeah,
Instagram. I don't have a TikTok account either.
Yeah, it's where all my gains happen.
So we're
That's where his
going
gains
through your
happen.
gains.
Yeah, my gains lead to our gains.
Fair gains.
Lead
Yes.
to more viewers.
Not to be
Growing
confused with
pains.
chip gains.
Yeah.
Leadership gains. Welcome to the More Taco Encounter. We're glad to have you guys here. It's been a couple weeks since we've been chilling. We've had a lot of
live
stuff
across
going
the
on.
board?
We're everywhere.
Oh, we're good. You were good
We're
here.
good.
Oh, sorry.
Producer Jean
Sorry.
is in the
I thought
background
we were
setting
just
things
TikTok
up. Joe's
live.
figuring out life.
Jean Dupont.
We're good. Jean Dupont,
Don't shoot us.
which we're gonna get it. We're gonna get into Jean Dupont.
Yeah.
You might notice that my boy Nico over here is wearing a George Mason wrestling sweater. I'm rocking my AEW t-shirt. Joe has
Hang
his
on.
WWF pec flex.
Hang on, get that.
He's
pipe
been
on.
working
Hang
on that
He's
for a while now.
been attempting this for the last
There it is.
34 years of
Who's
his
hungry?
life.
Who's hungry? Okay, sorry.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
Uh,
I was mesmerized.
and right around the corner, we just had a massive pay-per-view for AEW. Is Sting's retirement. Anybody who knows about Sting,
Again?
Sting, one of the greatest
No,
wrestlers.
he never retired. I don't think.
He did not retire. This is his official retirement. Locked up, 61 years old. He
Ooh.
rocked it almost as long as Ric Flair, who, well, we can get to that later.
Yeah,
But
Rick?
WrestleMania is right around the corner. We're going to be talking about Nico's wrestling experiences because of the three of us. He's actually been a legitimate wrestler.
Wrestler.
And
Wrestler.
we're going to be going all over the spectrum. This is a wrestling-based episode. A
Wrestling.
little bit. Wrestling.
Wrestle him.
Wrestling. WRASSLIN apostrophe.
Wrestling.
You have to have that apostrophe.
Yeah,
Gotta, gotta have the apostrophe. So I grew up in, I don't know about you guys, but wrestling was very foundational for me. I feel like that was like one of the first things that transitioned you from cartoons into semi-maturity. I'm not saying full-blown maturity, but like when you saw the Warrior, for me, it was
Yeah.
the Ultimate Warrior
Hell yeah.
pressing Hogan over his head. WrestleMania 7, I believe. I think it's 7, 6 or 7. I believe it's 7 because at 6, I think it was Macho and I don't. Anyway,
Somewhere between 1 and 10.
it was before it. Well, 9 and 10 were like Bret Hart driven. 9, I remember watching 9 live. That was one of my first ever pay per views. 9 is even more vivid
We're doing
than
it.
me watching 7, which was Warrior Hulk on VHS. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it was 6, but at 9, I remember that vividly because I was a big Bret Hart guy.
Yeah, so was
And
I.
Bret
think we
Hart,
all were.
Yeah,
Bret
had to
Hart
be.
was going against Yokozuna.
That's
Yokozuna
a
beat
name.
him.
It's a big boy.
Yokozuna beat him, and then Hulk Hogan runs down, and Bret Hart tells Yoko because Mr. Fuji threw salt in Bret Hart's
I remember
eye, and it was in Caesar's Palace live outside.
Another Caesar Palace
Yes,
reference.
ugly, like
Is this
giant.
the real Caesar's Palace?
It was the real Caesar's Palace, literally Julius Caesar, his palace in Rome.
Who's that?
Anyway, that kind of stuff was like very foundational to my maturation process. Like you're going from watching cartoons to watching dudes smash each other in the face. And of course, in the 80s, it was real. May not
Yeah.
be real now, but in the 80s, it was real.
You just,
As real as it gets.
you nerded out on us a lot just now.
I did.
Dude,
I don't. That was a lot of wrestling knowledge.
Dude,
Wrestling knowledge.
that's-
wrestling.
That's the tip of the iceberg of my wrestling knowledge.
You know,
Trust
whenever
me.
I hear like people talk about wrestling being fake or real, I think of the movie Ready to Rumble. You guys seen that with
Oh,
David
yeah.
Arquette?
Oh, yeah.
And where like someone like gives him shit about wrestling being fake. He's like, wrestling's not fake. He like screams and gets like all mad.
Yeah.
That's what I think about whenever I hear
Only for
wrestling's fake.
WCW to actually put the belt on David Arquette.
Yeah,
Because
Eric
wrestling.
Bischoff, stud.
Actually, I think that might have been Vince Russo. That's the Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo. So, dude, we could have like 20 pods on wrestling. But that was a chaotic. Nico does not want to.
No, I
because,
could.
because I'm one of those. I get not offended, but
Yeah, so
I really wrestled. So like, whenever,
Right.
Tell us.
I didn't get into
Tell us your
wrestling
tell us your
entertainment.
feelings.
Yes.
So you did not get into wrestling as a kid, even.
I did probably late elementary school, but I was big in actual like collegiate style, Greco-Roman. There's different folk style. There's freestyle. There's different kind of wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. Freestyle, Greco. I mean, Olympic, genuine quality.
But back then there was only the hope to go Olympic, if you will, because MMA wasn't as big then as it is now. So if a lot
of these collegiate wrestlers go to WWE.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. So now it's like either you go one or the other.
Stevenson?
Yeah, you go one or the other. When we were at that age, you only wrestled because you wanted to be an Olympian. So that was if you weren't planning on doing that, okay, you weren't making a career out of it. Put it that way.
Are you more offended by the notion and the perception that other people have about wrestling as an athletic endeavor, or are you more ticked off about kind of the culture of WWE, AEW, that, entertainment that then trickles into legitimate wrestling and maybe in your mind tarnishes it?
I think, it's a combination of both because I respect both. Wrestling is entertainment. I mean, I can handle it. I mean,
it's athletic acting. That's what I like to call it. It's
they
athletic
are very
acting.
Athletic individuals. You can't take that from them.
You cannot.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'll never do is say, oh, it's completely fake. No, you still have to have talent. You still have to have strength. You still have, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
Picking up a 500-pound dude and giving him a suplex is not fake.
Exactly.
Them helping you slightly as you do it, that's a different thing.
Yeah. And growing up, it was like, oh, what do you do for sports? You have baseball players, you have football players. I didn't play football until high school. But I wrestled from 5 until I was 13. That was one of those things. I think I technically started wrestling like actually competitive. I think I was like 7 turning 8, but I wrestled with my brothers. But anyway, that's one of those things where growing up, oh, you're a wrestler. Pardon my French. That shit's gay or it's fake. It was one or the other. It wasn't, nobody really knew what it was.
Yeah.
So, but now that it's getting more mainstream because of MMA, a lot of kids are getting into it now, where it brings, there's a lot of rec to it too. So there's a lot of non-serious wrestlers, but now you can go year round. Now you can wrestle for your middle school and wrestle for a club team. There's a lot of different avenues that they can have now that they didn't have back then. So I think that's cool. But what you said, they go WWE, or AEW, WCW. I don't even know what
one of the W's.
One of the W's, one of the acronyms. I don't
W
know
is usually in it for wrestling.
Wrestling.
I think
it should be R. Wrestling.
I'm pretty sure it's wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wrestling.
That's what I'm saying.
Wrestling.
So it's cool that people can make a career out of it now. It wasn't really a big career thing when I was growing up, though.
And you hear, so again, I'm going to nerd out slightly, but you go old school, like the Stu Hart dungeon in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And Stu Hart was the father of Bret the Hitman Hart, Owen Hart, an entire generation of wrestlers. Now they're in like their 3rd or 4th generation wrestlers. Chris Jericho trained there. A lot of these guys will talk about, like, dude, Ric Flair talks about it. That was like, that's one of the things I appreciate about AEW is these guys hit the trash out of each other. When they're giving each other chops to the chest, it's clean. And you can, like, after a Bryan Danielson match, you guys have seen how pasty he is. He's Mr. K level pasty. And he will have massive welts on his chest, massive welts. And these guys used to hit each other, and they used to put holds on each other that were hard and ripping sockets. It was more authentic collegiate level wrestling. And then they got into they added the acting part in later.
And then you also throw on top of that, think of how much scripting and how much practice, if you will, whatever they want to call it, before they actually go to the event. So not only they're beating the shit out of each other at events, they're beating each other up all week long to perfect
now
that event.
I think the scripting is a lot less than it used to be way back in the day. Because those guys used to travel on the road with each other constantly. They were like, you and I would be driving, and we got to drive to Memphis, Tennessee tonight, and we're scripting out our entire match in the car on our drive, and figuring things out. And those guys were crazy too, because like they were hitting the booze hard.
Oh yeah,
they were hitting
everything.
The cigarette and the drugs hard.
They were hitting everything.
They were hitting
They were
hit the
hitting.
ladies hard.
They were hitting it.
They were hitting it
Every time, dude.
Whatever they could hit, they did it.
They did.
Yeah.
And
old school wrestling.
Like 80s, 90s,
even
WWF.
even before
when
that,
it was
60s,
WWF.
70s.
yeah.
That
the
was,
Attitude Era.
That was the heyday.
The Attitude Era was bananas.
Yeah, give me a
for
Stone
sure.
Cold any day of the week.
Yeah.
You can run into,
But
throwing
that's-
2 beers down, and that,
Even that
that's what I
stuff.
watched.
Even that
let's
stuff.
go.
And that was peak wrestling. But that stuff was very serialized. Where that's when it started becoming a lot about the showmanship.
Yeah.
And like Stone Cold drives out with a beer truck and sprays Vince McMahon. He flops around like a fish, and The Rock is screaming, and that kind of
I
stuff.
hated
Right?
The Rock. But
Really?
I couldn't stand
Oh,
him.
I
Well,
love
he was a
him.
great. He was a great villain.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't
he was
like
a
him
really good
I
villain.
think the correct term is heel.
Heel.
He was a heel?
Heel.
That's the correct
heel,
term.
The heel of your foot, the bottom, and the good guy is the face.
Yeah, like when The Rock is currently heel.
Yes. So heading
Wait,
into
what does that even
heading
come?
into-
Wait, what does that even mean?
It means
the
everything.
heel is the bad guy. The
But where
face is the good guy.
Okay,
The
but
heel of
Yeah,
your
why
foot
is
is the
the-
why
bottom,
is that-
the
but
bad
I'm
guy.
It
saying,
kind of
why
comes
is
back
that?
to our
Where's
last.
that? What's the
Yeah,
origin
yeah,
of that?
where's the
That's a great
origin?
question.
It comes
Yeah.
back to our last episode where, like, who comes up with this shit?
That's what I'm saying.
Raining cats and dogs. We talked about that.
Dude, dumb.
Sick as a
people-
dog.
Dumb.
People-
What is
Dude,
happening?
dogs are never sick.
They're never sick.
Never sick.
We did get into that. Like, what else did we say? Nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud.
Not
It's
butt.
Not
It's
butt.
not butt. Chicagoans. It's
Nip
bud.
it in the B-U-D.
Bud.
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 What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Champ-
Wrestlers.
They're wrestlers.
Champing at the bit.
You came up
not
with that. A
chomping at the
wrestler
bit.
probably came up with it.
Yeah.
That
See?
son of a
Where
bitch.
does all that crap come from?
Wrestling.
Stupid.
Yeah.
You know who came up with
I
it?
digress.
Stupid.
You know, we will regress.
We're
because
regressing.
I'm gonna tell you who came up with it. CM Punk,
Oh,
which churns it churns me slightly,
fired
but it churns Joe deeply.
fired
Is- CM Punk is unfortunately
Oh,
on
dead center.
on my AEW shirt.
Dead center
Dead
douche.
center marketing. So Joe, let's
I hate
let's
his
let's get
guys.
into your hatred of CM Punk just slightly. This is a Chicago guy. We're from the suburbs of Chicago.
Dude,
Shaking in
Dude.
anger.
stop it.
You're ruining Nico's whiskey.
Sorry.
We AEW had like Chicago's one of its major hubs outside of Jacksonville, where they were during the pandemic. Chicago, they always come around to Chicago in September for All Out, late August, early September. And CM Punk is huge here. CM Punk was in AEW for a while. He's back in WWE. And I agree with you. He just churns you a certain
Yeah.
way. And his fans would churn me a certain way. But why don't you share with our viewers and our live viewers why you have such a
Or
fervent
viewer.
passion against CM Punk?
Yeah, I just don't like him. I think
He's got a punchable face.
yeah,
I was just about to say, you
he-
want to punch
yeah,
him.
he does have a real punchable face. So like when CM Punk was like really like coming in, I did not follow wrestling in the slightest.
So he was he was big. He started off in like Ring of Honor, some smaller indie stuff. Then he came to WWE in the time
In the
when
In the genre.
genre,
when it was post Attitude Era, and it was the Ruthless Aggression era. It was kind of that bridge, and in that bridge time, if you remember, that's when Vince McMahon purchased WCW and ECW,
yes,
I forgot
and
about that one.
that's when I
and
stopped watching.
it was called the Invasion. It was called the Invasion. All that kind of stuff happened. Stone Cold flipped sides. He went with the WCW and ECW side, and all. And Kurt Angle was the guy who led the WWE side. Whatever. We're getting down the rabbit hole. But CM Punk came in like a year or two after that. He was a very minor character in their kind of minor leaguish stuff, and then he became ECW champion when they made 3 brands,
which is even more lame.
which was pre.
But go on.
It was pre.
You really don't like him.
I don't like him.
Yeah, so that was like piercings. He was wrestling with piercings. He had
Wrestling.
longer hair.
Yeah, bitch.
Ouch.
And then
Truth
the
hurts.
most famous CM Punk that people know is 2014
yeah,
Pipe
the
Bomb,
pipe bomb.
which is like peak John Cena. But actually, he came on the scene probably about 4 or 5
But
years
did you see him?
earlier than that.
You couldn't see him.
2009, 2010, and he kind of had this up and down journey. And then by 2013 and 2014, he was like really speaking out about how he was getting screwed.
Yeah,
That was the CM Punk kind of journey within WWE.
yeah. I think like for me, he's got this like sense of entitlement, this which we've talked about numerous times on different pods. This like sense of I'm better than you and I deserve all of this stuff, which we've also talked the difference between deserved and earned, and like all of these things. Like I truly believe that everything that he talks about in his promo back in the day and the pipe bomb, that he truly believed.
He believed all of it. Believed all of it. That was not fake.
Yeah.
He just thinks he's
deserving. He is the man. Like he is the guy. And I look at him like
he looks like
you have
me.
Zero physique. No shot to you.
I don't.
He's got zero physique.
You went straight to Eric.
Yeah, take the shot.
No,
Bro,
not.
Sorry.
Zero physique. He's only like wrestled, right? So then like
what's wrong with that?
Nothing. No, WWE wrestled.
Oh, that's fake shit.
Yeah. So he goes from this WWE wrestling to he's like, then like the whole pipe bomb shit hits. He quits UFC or WWF, WWE, whatever it was at the time.
These acronyms are getting me.
It was like by that time. It was
yeah. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go do the UFC and get ragdolled.
He
by
chilled
a
for
turd.
he chilled for a year or two before he did that.
Yeah, because
then he got wrecked.
Yeah. Then he's like, I have this Pepsi tattoo on my left arm. I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna go UFC. And he got ragdolled
by somebody with a Mountain Dew tattoo.
What's hard? What's
Both
hard?
Pepsi brands, I think.
Is
though.
if he was not,
yeah.
if he was not smug.
Yeah,
I'm dead serious.
If he was zero smug,
there's a lot about him that's likable. He comes down to the ring, he hits, he looks at his wrist and he says it's clobbering time. Which for those of you nerds like me,
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. That's the Thing's catchphrase. He's got some.
Nico's like, I'm done.
Nico's like wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling.
You guys continue.
He's got some likable qualities
grab some of that chicken cock.
About him. He's straight edge, meaning he does not use any substances whatsoever. He would not be sharing beverages with us.
No.
There's a lot about him that's unique
that you should like.
It's like a bull.
Yeah.
But
sucks.
Yeah, he
sucks.
He's just douchey.
It's like the fact that like
he just is.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I feel like he treats like WWE wrestling like it's real fighting. Like I'm gonna whoop your ass, and I think he like generally thinks in his mind that like if him and pick a person were in a street fight, that he would whoop their ass.
Okay,
that's how I think he thinks.
Can I get somebody with no legs? I want to get somebody with no arms.
I
want to get an alligator, and I want to have CM Punk.
And he loses.
Done.
I listen. I've gotten a fight since I was like 4. I could go and fight CM Punk right now and whoop his ass.
4? Who kicked your ass when you were 4?
I didn't.
Joe has mentioned multiple
multiple
times that he wants to fight CM Punk.
I would fight CM Punk right now, anywhere.
That's amazing.
And I'm fully confident.
So I hope our one listener right now, CM Punk.
So let me
tag one. Fuck. Someone.
Are you CM Punk?
Can you tag CM Punk in there?
So let me ask you guys a question. Well, we've never done live before. None of our viewers,
we'll get
none of
it'll
our many
come.
viewers,
It'll pick up.
You'll figure out live. We'll do.
We're the wives.
We just turned on the phone.
We're the wives with the cleavage.
Okay,
bro.
They need it.
All right,
we need it.
So let me ask you guys.
Your wives need to get my wife drunk.
There it is.
And this is in.
She's not with us.
Genuine. So in wrestling terminology, there's something called kayfabe.
Kayfabe. That I don't know.
Kayfabe is the for lack of a better term, the realisticness with which you portray a character and that you portray the industry as a whole. So, and I want to talk about this in a minute, so I don't want to divert too far. You have we discussed legitimate Olympians, collegiate NCAA champions, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Shelton Benjamin, Chad Gable, Gable Steveson, all these guys coming to make their money, right? There's many more from old times.
Yeah.
But
actual athletes.
So
that WWE.
So when I'm talking about kayfabe,
they're entertainment.
Breaking kayfabe is when you break your character and you basically you Deadpool it. You break the fourth wall. You let the fans in on what's happening behind the scenes. Now we got like behind the scenes shows and all different kinds of stuff that talk about their lives or whatever, total divas, all that kind of stuff that shows them like, hey, what's going on, right? But then there are guys who take their characters to the extreme and they live their characters. One guy who was very serious about not breaking kayfabe, even in the old school times, was The Undertaker, which is why the aura and the mystique of The Undertaker became what it did. Another guy who had trained in actual martial arts. But about CM Punk, you take CM Punk's, you take his character.
I don't think it's a character, but go on.
But
is him.
Okay. So here's the thing. There are some guys I love. I'll take a few. MJF, Ric Flair. I'm talking the characters that are MJF, the characters that are Ric Flair, the characters that are Undertaker. You look at them and you're like, this is so over the top. If this is them, like MJF, who Nico is not familiar with, is a big AEW star.
He's pretty funny.
He goes into the crowd. You know, they'll have matches that go
like
in the
Dink
crowd.
and Doink.
Doink and Dink are clowns.
Yeah, they were clowns.
But
Yeah,
dude,
some
used
guys
to
are
piss
clowns
me
too.
off.
Those are great
The old
clowns.
WWF Sega game. Doink used to always whoop my ass.
He was unstoppable.
So hard.
Anyway, MJF would
Sidetracked.
legit go in the crowd, take a kid's popcorn, dump it on the kid's head, not breaking kayfabe. Like with
Pretty hilarious.
He would like him and his ex-fiance broke up and he didn't break kayfabe. Like he's
in divorce court still in
like,
character.
Yeah, he's got his. He's
Or,
got his
no,
yeah,
they were in divorce court.
He's
but
one of those guys.
yeah, he's
but
got his
he's
Burberry
so-
scarf on.
But he's so ludicrous and ridiculous that you can't, like Ric Flair. If you saw Ric Flair on the street, you'd be like, "Whoa!" and he'd be like,
in a
"Woo!"
robe.
and he'd be like, "Styling, profiling." He
Dude,
would come
yeah.
up to our wives
Sorry.
like dancing, like that's Ric Flair, right? So you have these guys
Limousine riding.
styling, profiling. So you take these guys that take their characters to the extreme, right?
Wrestlers, yeah.
And yet those characters endear themselves to us, even if they're like bad, even if they're heel characters, bad guy characters. And yet you take a guy like CM Punk, and when he cuts his promo,
Douche.
it makes you he doesn't break character, but in a way that makes you dislike him.
It's very strange.
It is very strange.
I hate it. But he's got like these fans, like
he's got
they love him.
blind, ignorant fans, and I will go into this.
He's kind of like Donald Trump.
Stop it.
You're not wrong.
So like
You're not
It's
wrong.
we're like-
you're not wrong.
don't-
blind.
No, yeah.
The
Don't
blindness
listen to
of
me.
it.
I am a
Yes, you're not
CM
wrong.
Punk fan now.
no,
Don't get me started.
No, I'm not gonna
Created a new CM Punk fan.
I'm not-
Give me a red hat right now.
Yeah, I'm not comparing him to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is
That's my new wrestling character. Donald Trump.
as far as his like.
Did you just
We're
combine
live.
CM Punk
I did.
and Donald Trump?
I did.
He did.
Donald
Trunk.
Trump. The thing is that like
Joe would
it's-
beat him up too.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I could take Donald Trump. Let's be honest. He's
I don't know.
old.
He's a big dude.
He's
a
way
big
more
dude.
than me for sure.
If he flopped his toupee at you, though,
That's real.
You'd die.
His charisma would kick your ass along.
Yeah, that's true. He would probably belittle me, and I'd leave.
I'm
with
just
my-
saying.
with my head down.
Yeah.
But like, as far as like the blind, like I've heard like I think it was on Rogan's podcast where he talked about like there's a certain percentage of Trump supporters where they're like just blind to everything else.
There's a certain population of any supporter that's like that, but
Yeah.
you have certain people
They're just
that
so
endear themselves to blind people. And
Yeah.
we don't mean literally blind because we've discussed that on
Yeah.
the show before too. We
Yeah.
need like metaphorically, emotionally.
Get back on the road.
blind.
Get back on the road.
We're on the road.
Yeah,
We're on the
yeah,
road.
You go left.
Yeah. No, we're not going
No,
left.
you go right. You go right.
Damn it.
Hard right.
Stop
So-
it. See,
So
stop it. Cut it.
so CM Punk, the
Episode's off the rails.
when I've been to, and Joe has been with me as well, to live AEW shows, and you have these guys. Again, he's not in AEW anymore, but when he came back to WWE, you have these guys that will just blindly cheer for him, and like it was All Out, I believe 2022, and this is right before he like got injured. It was actually at this. It was the All Out scrum that everybody heard about, where he talked trash about the Young Bucks, and then he was injured, and the drama. It was 2020, late August, early September 2022, and that week he had dropped his title. The week before, he came to Chicago, and people were just like blindly cheering for him. And like, I understood when he came back to wrestling, it was a big thing. But when he came back, there are just some people who just stick the syringe in and suck the life out of things.
Yep.
And because of him being a power player, the way he blamed John Cena for, the way he blamed other people for, he tarnished the industry. And one of the greatest gifts to Cody Rhodes and all the guys that are going to wrestle at WrestleMania 40 in a few weeks is that CM Punk is injured.
Yep.
One of the greatest gifts to them is that he came back and was injured again. And I'm going to go out on a limb, a very, very short limb, and say that's a wrap on CM Punk's career. He's going to come back again. He's going to get injured again. Dude, he's been injured like 2 times in the past, whatever.
Crazy injuries.
When you're old, I'm old. I'm 41 years old. When you're old, it's over. Like your knees are shot, your leg, like even
Coming from somebody that fell out of bed.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Yeah.
Those
I'm kidding,
athletes,
Eric,
but even those athletes, 1 in billions are guys like Tom Brady who can play deep.
Yeah.
And that also is because an entire offense was built around him never being touched, not even pinky dabbed. So like
Even the referees are in on that.
It's just like
That's a conspiracy.
Dab, right?
No, that's
the
a dab. That's Cam Newton.
That's a dab.
That's Cam Newton.
So
Wrong character.
CM Punk,
That's not CM Punk.
it's I get it. He brings eyeballs, but
Dude,
he brings eyeballs. He's a controversial
listen.
character.
He tore his tricep. Who does that?
I don't
No
know.
one tears their tricep.
I don't know.
Football players do it.
No, they don't. They tear pecs.
True.
Rare do you hear a tricep. How about you do some more
CM
overhead
Punk,
presses?
CM
bro?
Punk, and when he
You
got
really
injured,
don't
when
like
he got
him.
in-
No,
injured
he's got
in
no
AEW,
physique.
he got
I hate
injured trying to do a buckshot lariat, which for those of you who do not know, you flip
Failed
over the ropes.
miserably.
And Adam Hangman Page is maybe 30. He's in his late 20s, early 30s, super athletic, muscular. His gimmick is full throttle. He goes in the top rope and does flips and all different kinds of stuff. CM Punk is not that. CM Punk is not that. And when CM Punk tried doing this guy's move, he flipped over, landed wrong, popped his thing, and he had drama with Hangman Page too. And Hangman Page put him over. If I was Hangman Page, I would have called an audible and be like, "This dude is a chode, and I'm freaking making this guy tap out."
He
That's
sucks,
what I would have
bro.
done.
He
'Cause
sucks.
Hangman Page is the bomb. I
hope
freaking
his-
love Hangman Page.
I hope his wife cheats on him.
Dude, she is a baller. AJ Lee.
Wait, that's CM Punk's wife?
AJ Lee from WWE is CM Punk's wife. She could out wrestle that dude.
I'm sliding her DMs.
Do it.
I gotta do it.
Tell her.
Sorry.
Tell her you could beat up her.
Sorry, wife.
This question. I have a question for
This is-
the listener.
This is for business.
Feel free to answer.
Do we have anyone on?
What is the percentage that you think that I know any names that they just threw out there?
I mean, we're low.
You know Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, yeah.
Undertaker.
I
you know
I
some
threw that
guys.
out there first.
Yeah.
So Stone Cold.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know some guys.
Fuck.
It's been a minute.
Guess what? I know someone famous. I know the Undertaker. No, I'm just kidding. I actually do know some wrestlers, but
I have a good wrestling story.
I'm a wrestler.
tell the
I
wrestling
used to be a
story.
wrestler.
That just made it
And then we're gonna divert into actual wrestling.
Yeah.
No,
stories.
so I have a really cool
I'm
story.
a bit of a badass, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, no
Whatever.
big deal.
Yeah, whatever.
Quick wrestling story. So when I was actually a huge wrestling fan when I was younger, and my brother and his friend took me to a WWF event.
Yes.
I was at, I think it was still Rosemont at the time. It wasn't
Rosemont
Allstate yet.
Horizon.
Yeah.
Ooh,
The
yeah.
jam.
Yeah. That's what it was back in the day. So we had some bomb ass seats. So like you have like your first like section of rows with like the gate, and then we were the first row in the next section. So we were like right there, really close, like probably 100 feet from us to the ring. Like we were super close, right? And that's when China first came onto the scene.
China.
Yeah,
Yes.
China. That's when she first came onto the scene, right?
I
And everyone,
hated
like-
her too
Yeah, she was still like,
Why?
no one liked her.
because she was more of a dude than I was.
Dude, you watched the China
But
documentary.
but I hear
sad.
super sad.
So
I hear
sad.
sad.
Super sad.
But you know,
Tony Laurer,
there's a
rest
lot
in
of
peace.
respect after the fact.
Yeah.
Her character. I
Oh,
didn't
she ended
like.
up being like a super cool lady, like
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
That's
Anyway,
super sad. Yeah.
anyway,
My
so
bad.
she still sucked, right? Like no one liked her. It was that whole era.
That
right?
was when Triple H. Nobody liked Triple
Yeah,
H.
she was
either.
Triple H.
Dude, nobody ever has liked Triple H.
Yeah.
They
Wasn't
like
there-
him now. They
Wasn't
like
there
him
like
now
2 weeks where
because
people liked him? Like there was like a little small little face.
Yeah,
where he was
yeah.
like a good guy.
There was
Or
like
he was not
it
Not
never
a face.
lasted
He
because
was
he was
face.
such a good.
A
He was
face
such a good
is a
heel.
face?
He was such
yeah,
a good
such
heel.
a good heel.
Heel.
So we're sitting there, and her and Triple H. I forget who else he was with.
Shawn Michaels. At that time, it was those guys
It
were
had to have been
Generation
Shawn-
X.
it had to have been
It
Shawn
had-
Michaels.
Had
Yeah.
to be.
And
X-Pac.
so he
He was the fourth
after
guy.
one,
I
to
think it
two,
was
three kid.
X-Pac. It was not
X-Pac,
Shawn Michaels.
X-Pac was the fourth guy to join DX.
Yeah.
I think it was
Shawn Michaels
X-Pac.
might have
And-
left at that
yeah.
point.
And let's be real, we all went around doing this for no reason.
Oh yeah.
Like you
I
go, up
still
to your,
do it.
you go up to your teacher, and it's like second grade. You go up to
Yeah.
your teacher, and be like, "Oh
Straight
yeah,
up.
suck it," and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you're like, "Go to the principal's office."
Yeah, for sure. I'm like, hey, at work. I'm like, you got to do this. Like, no way. I'm like, you know what? Like,
I don't know how many times I got in trouble for
suck
telling.
it. I used to do that. I still do that.
That's what they tell their bosses. They're like, I do not-
Straight up.
Actually, my boss tells me that because he's a child
Yeah.
just like I am.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair.
So, oh, man, we go off the rails so fast. So
Listen, our rails,
there are
they're
rails.
rubbery.
We don't
Yeah,
have.
yeah, they
just
bounce.
move.
It's like bumper bowling.
Yeah, we're like go karts.
I love that.
Yeah.
analogy.
Yeah.
We're bumper bowlers.
We're bumper
Yeah.
bowling.
Like it.
Never hit a
So-
pin.
No,
Because
So-
by the end, it just falls right off.
Yeah.
It just goes down.
It
Yeah.
falls down to boredom.
Yeah. So she's standing there, outside, like on the ring, but outside the ropes, and she's just sitting there with her arms.
She
crossed.
always did that.
Yeah, like
arms
jacked as fuck, right? And my brother and his friend are like, "Fuck you!" Like give a finger. She like stops and she just and points like right at them. It was not at anyone else. It was 100% at them. Eye contact and everything. And they remind me of me and my buddy Zach when like stupid shit happens. We like stop. We're like, "Oh my god!" They like lose their shit. Like so pumped.
We got to her.
Yeah, like so pumped that they that she acknowledged the fact that that they were telling her to fuck off basically. It was just like one of the
What a great memory that was.
yeah.
You know what? I'm not even gonna follow up with that.
Yeah, I was so
You know somebody famous.
I know I was so young when it happened, so it
You
was
pretty
so
much knows
cool.
her. You pretty much know China.
I know
Yeah.
someone famous.
I mean, that
Joe
China.
was pointed
Yeah.
at
By China.
By China.
China.
Yeah, China.
And she,
With a Y.
I mean, we saw the Undertaker there, so the lights went out, like all that. Cause it was a pretty sick experience to be.
When it was like Monday Night Raw, like
it had to
back
have
in
been
the
Monday
day.
Night Raw. It had
back
to
in the day, there was only a couple of those that
Yeah,
came
then we went to
Ro-
Denny's afterwards.
Rosemont. Ooh, did you get moons over Miami?
No, I didn't. I don't think I was eating eggs. I was still pretty young. I think I got the
Chicken fingers.
You know what I'm gonna be?
Yeah.
I'm going to be Ted Mosby one-upper. If you guys ever seen that episode of How I Met Your Mother, how Ted walks around, he one-ups everybody's story. I met Drax the Destroyer,
Oh.
Batista,
Really?
when
Nice.
we went to the WWE Hall of Fame. So I went to the
Yeah, chill.
WrestleMania
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
with two of my good buddies, Jim and Grant. What's up, boys?
Sick.
We went to WrestleMania 22 in Chicago at the Rosemont Horizon, and it may have been have become Allstate Arena
Allstate,
at that point. in
yeah.
time. Very, very close.
Early
around that
stages.
time. Yep.
Mhm.
And we went to the Hall of Fame ceremony, which Bret Hart got inducted, and Eddie Guerrero got inducted posthumously, and we were in the nosebleeds of all nosebleeds, the last row in the Chicago Theater, which is where they hosted the Hall of Fame
Oh, yeah.
ceremony. And we're like, we're going to all of this. Why not? It's a whole weekend, whatever. We're in the nosebleeds. This guy in a suit starts walking around. He's pacing back and forth. And then he sees us for some reason. I don't know why, but Jim, God bless you, Jim, convinced us to wear like nicer clothes. He's like, it's the Hall of Fame.
Put sleeves on.
Yeah, you put on a suit.
If
Put a tie over that face t-shirt.
If, he's like, he's a Brewers fan. So he's like, if Robin Yount got him inducted into the Hall of Fame, we'd wear great clothes. And I was like, okay, cool. So we all wore,
I'm 12.
we wore button up shirts. No, at that point in time, we were in our 20s.
Oh, my bad.
So we
So
wore,
times two.
we wore button up shirts, and we went, and then he pointed at the three of us and he walked up and he's like, how would you guys like to sit front row? And we're like, yeah, we would. So they moved us all the way down. Obviously, front row is not front row because the front 10 rows are all the wrestlers. It's all the
family,
wrestlers,
all that
family,
shit. Yeah.
famous people, stuff like that. But we were front row of fans.
Ooh, that was
We're
a
in the
good
front
cover.
row of
That was a good
fans
cover.
because we wore these epic dress shirts, and because
You're
they
the only
wanted,
three
they
people
wanted,
with a collar.
they wanted everyone else up front was dressed really nice, and they wanted us to, we were going to be on camera. They knew we were going to be on
That
camera.
makes sense.
So on the WrestleMania 22 DVD, which I still have, in the Hall of Fame ceremony, you can see the three of us. I hold up Eddie Guerrero's t-shirt multiple times, and then after it was over, a bunch of wrestlers went past, and Batista shook my hand.
Then powerbombed you.
I know someone famous. Dave Bautista. Actually, then he turned into Drax Destroyer on the spot and double stabbed me and called me Thanos. He's like Thanos, and he double stabbed me, and I was done.
And then
man.
you died.
It was crazy.
That was over.
It was crazy.
I didn't know that. I didn't
slice your throat with his finger.
Yeah, I knew you were at that event. I didn't know that whole Batista story though.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool.
dude. There's something about wrestling that kind of endears wrestling. Both levels of wrestling, and we're not done talking about wrestling. But there's something about wrestling that endears you to people. It's a camaraderie, just like any kind of, if you're into comic books, you're into certain athletics, like it's a culture and it creates things. And we would like to make sure that we spread the culture of Joe punching CM Punk in the face.
One day I'm gonna get my chance.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, and we're gonna record it, and I'm gonna go to jail, and it's gonna be worth it.
We have like 17 phones here.
I don't even want you to bail me
One of us
out.
can catch it.
I want to sit there and be like, "Why are you in here?" I'm like, "I beat the fuck out of CM Punk," and they're be like,
everybody else is gonna back off.
"Yeah,"
They're
they're
gonna
like, "Whoa, this dude's serious," or I get beat up more,
Or they're
like,
gonna throw you.
or like that guy's a pussy. We're gonna beat your ass.
they're like, we want to test ourselves because we kind of want to fight that guy.
I don't like that guy either.
They're gonna throw you with the women. They're gonna be like, really?
Oh, hopefully. Maybe
if
I get
China's there, then
China. Yeah.
No, she passed.
I have
R.I.P.
so
Johnny.
many comments, but I'm
Yes.
I'll keep it
You know what? We're going to put a pin in this. We're going to talk about some legitimate wrestling. We got a lot more wrestling content coming up in the future. We're going to talk about WrestleMania and stuff. We didn't even get to half the stuff we were going to chat about, but it's the More Taco Encounter, so we roll with it.
Yeah.
Thank you to our live viewers.
Take away an S.
And,
Take away an S. Whoever
and-
you are.
Guess what?
Hit us up on TikTok.
We got two.
The random person who just happened to be watching our YouTube page or whatever while we were streaming TikTok. So
Yeah, TikTok.
for the rest
China.
of you guys, you'll check us when we post the vid.
Creepy shit.
We love you
weird.
guys, More Taco Encounter viewers. We'll check you guys soon. See you
Cheers.
next time on the More Taco Encounter.
Wrestling.